Hello and welcome to the Arsenal BiteSize Podcast. I'm pleased to welcome back Clayton from his trip to Asia. I'm, of course, FPL Nima. You can find us both on Twitter at ClaytesAFC and at FPL Nima. We're here to review the Arsenal Leeds game, a big 4-1 victory at the Emirates. How you doing, Clayton? Were you happy to see Jesus back on the score sheet?
Yeah, big time. It was a good return for him, wasn't it? So I think he started against Sporting Lisbon, and then I think this was his first league start, right? And yeah, back with
Yeah.
a bang. It was pretty much perfect. I don't know if you saw at the end Martinelli trying to like joke with him, giving him the match ball and stuff, even though he only scored two. But yeah, it was pretty much perfect return for him. I think couldn't have gone much better. And I don't know about you, but before the Saka news and stuff, I thought Jesus was going to start anyway. Just one eye on Anfield next week. The pressing from the front, all of that, everything he gives us. Not to knock Trossard, I just think Jesus is Jesus. Like when you've got someone like him, he has to play, in my opinion. So yeah, I was very happy, and yeah, timed my travels so I didn't miss any Arsenal. So came straight to the Emirates. I was very jet lagged, but yeah, it was a great day out. But it didn't start as a great day. I thought the first half was a bit naff, but yeah, we got there in the end, and yeah, kind of made it quite easy in the end.
Yeah, I wasn't particularly sure about right in the first half in terms of kind of Trossard playing off the right with the Saka illness we heard about. Like obviously in the end it all turned out very well, but it was just a little bit. Something felt nervy for me. I don't know. Like it had shades of that
Yeah.
game. What was it? The Bournemouth game where they scored in the first like 10 seconds.
Well, they had a chance, right? It wasn't quite as
Yeah,
clear cut as the Bournemouth one, but literally from kickoff, they went through Zinchenko and Gabriel, like bounced off each other, and then it was a very low quality chance. But still, the fact that they had a shot in our box in the first, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, here we go again.
that's
Yeah,
what I
and
mean.
like
So
that,
I kind of felt on edge from that moment, like 10 seconds in or whatever, all
yeah,
the way
same.
until the penalty from Jesus.
Because I was saying to my mates, I was in my season ticket seat on Saturday, and like honestly, I was so jet lagged. Like the night before, I think I woke up at like 3 a.m. and so I was like, I just want to watch a nice, relaxing game today. I just want to go. And 10 seconds in, I was like, holy shit, this is not going to be the relaxing game I thought it would be. But yeah, just one other thing, by the way. Like, obviously, listen to the episode while I was away. Mike and Bobby props out there. It was a really good one. Really enjoyed that. So yeah,
Yeah,
that was
shout out
nice.
to them and thanks for stepping in. Hopefully, we can get them
Yeah,
back
thank
on
you.
again for end of season review as well once we wrap up the season and see where we end up. But yeah, so I think we'll do what we normally do. We'll just maybe give like our highlight of the game each, like just 30-second, 1 minute highlight, and then we'll look at like individual performances in terms of the lineup we put out there. But do you want to
Yeah.
just start with kind of we've talked about kind of the parts that we felt cagey about, but well, what about the parts that were positive from the result on Saturday?
Yeah, I think just the first half for me, it wasn't like the whole first half. It was like the first 35 minutes. I just thought it was really bad. Like I thought the urgency was off, the passing, the quality of passing and the urgency was just bad. And I didn't think Trossard from the right was working at all. Not to knock him, as I think it's just an angles thing. Like it's very different when you're kind of able to rotate in pockets and stuff compared to just being fixated in that one area of the pitch and starting from that area. But once we got through that, it was obviously got the penalty, and that completely changed the game for us, right? It was like like we're struggling through, but we managed to get a penalty, go 1-0 up, and then the game was just done at that point. Like second half was just beautiful. Like it was, some of the goals were lovely, the passing, the movement, it was brilliant. And then it's a shame they scored because it would have been nice to keep a clean sheet. But second half was so much more relaxing, and it was just the level of control. And I think it's nice that we've not been in a position like this for years where we're not having a good day at the office. We get a goal, and then it's just the whole tide completely turns, and we're just in cruise control again. So yeah, and it's nice. Like we're consistently scoring quite a few now. I think I saw on Monday Night Football, is it like we've scored three plus goals in like 6 of the last 7 or something like that. And obviously we've won 7
Yeah.
on the bounce in the league since that City defeat. So like we're plodding away, like we're doing everything we can be doing it and we're doing it in style. So
I think when we
yeah.
spoke at the time after the City game, we kind of said that this spell of games between City and now, when we go into the Liverpool game and we start to think about matches against Newcastle and Chelsea at home, and then City at the Etihad and all these different ties, Brighton again.
Yeah.
We always felt like we needed to kind of get as many points as we could in this run that was a bit kinder. but I didn't expect us to get kind of the full 21 out of 21 with
Yeah.
this many goals in style, right? Like 18 goals in that time or something.
Yeah, same. Like I looked at that block of fixtures, and same as you. Like I remember my logic was more just get as many points on the board and build some buffer room to City. Unfortunately, the buffer room stayed the same because they're equally as impressive in terms of just racking up the wins at the minute. But we're doing everything we can. And yeah, I think like you said, that 18 goals, like it's pretty bonkers. Like we're just consistently racking up goals now with
I think it
ease.
was 14 goals in March, right? Obviously, 4 wins, 14 goals, man of the match, player of the month, all that. So, manager of the
Yeah.
month, player of the
Save
month,
of the
and
month.
Saka and the save of the month. You know, just racking up the triples, treble there for the month of March. And then just April 1st, come back in straight another 4 goals again. So, I
Yeah.
do feel Jesus starting for me was a major thing because going into Anfield next week, as you say, I just feel way more confident going there, knowing Jesus is kind of that
Same.
one step closer to being 100%. I think the reason I predicted him to start before the game was just solely because essentially Arteta had said in the presser that like he was almost at 100%. So I thought, well, you know, like this is as good as it gets. Like they've been very careful with him. You know, we've seen the documented journey of his return and how he's constantly like exceeded every milestone to try and get back.
Yeah.
And for me, in some ways, I was a bit nervous when he stepped up for the penalty because I know his kind of record for penalties.
I was as well. I didn't get a
Yes,
feeling like,
I
yeah,
was
this
on
is
edge.
a nailed on goal.
Yeah, I was very on edge, but I kind of understood that, you know, like he just wants to get going again. He needs this.
Yeah.
But it was actually the celebration for the second goal and his hunger to get on the end of that ball. That was my highlight of the game because just the play itself was so
Yeah, it
sublime.
was
Like the
beautiful,
way
wasn't
he
it?
gave the ball to Trossard, Trossard went into the box. You could kind of see Trossard look over his shoulder and then looked like he ignored Jesus' run and went the other way. And then out of nowhere, he
Yeah.
just finds Jesus on the end of it. And the way Jesus celebrated, I was like, okay, this goal meant a lot to him. This open
Yeah.
play goal right here, this is hopefully going to be the start of his return. So
Yeah, because he
honestly,
had a
that was
bit of
my
a
highlight.
he had a bit of a barren spell before the World Cup, didn't he? It was like 4 or 5 games without a goal or something. And I mean, like, not that it was affecting us because as a team we were doing well, but like people were starting to get onto that a little bit. So it's nice that in a home game against Leeds and a like easy 4-1 win, he's able to get that off his back and just go bang straight away to Anfield. Because I'm with you, like obviously we're going to do the Liverpool preview on Friday, but like my confidence with or without Jesus in the team for a game like Liverpool, where I think the actual styles kind of match up in terms of having someone like Jesus to put pressure on from the front and create that chaos, which I think that's how Liverpool aren't the same Liverpool. Like I
I
think they
think
can
Clayton's
be
got
had
some
at.
Wi-Fi issues, lad. So I will continue. He did warn me before. Okay, I think I'm back. I don't know if what happened there. I know Clayton was having Wi-Fi issues. I don't know if you caught that. Just a quick hi as well, Dream Team Professor. Thanks for tuning in. Morning, mate. I'm not sure. Let us know in the chat at what point it cut out. But welcome back, Clayton. I thought it might be me because my Wi-Fi was having issues too, and we were both
Oh,
spinning. Yeah, so I have a feeling that you maybe just left and came back, but I reckon it was actually me who went offline.
yeah, because I think it maybe was because I could hear you, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, I could hear you, so I just left and came back. But
No
yeah,
worries. Yeah, apologies for that, guys. So I did see an alert today saying that Virgin Media is having like outages all over the country, and yeah, so I'm with Virgin Media, and I have a feeling that that might like we might need to be careful because if I go down again, I'll try to tether my phone, but I think carry on and assume
cool.
it's me if you see it go down again. So just saying hi to Dream Team Professor. All right, yeah. So let's quickly go to the lineup then, and we'll talk about the individual shout out as well. Thank you for tuning in, Mike. Clayton was just talking about how much he
Cheers,
enjoyed
guys.
that episode and your appearance last time round. So great. So yeah, I didn't expect obviously the Saka benching. It wouldn't make sense with 9 games to go. We heard there was actually illness in the camp, so that makes a bit more sense. But what really impressed me was that he wasn't the only one who was ill. We found out after the game, and the likes of White were
Yeah.
also suffering from illness. And for him to kind of play and get his second goal for us, and just the way he plays is just honestly, I'm getting more and more in line with thinking that he is the best right back in the league. Like, I'm sorry, like
I
I
think
just
he is.
can't
I
see
don't. I
anyone
don't
else
think.
is doing. I know Trippier is kind
Yeah.
of close, I would say as well,
True.
but
Yeah.
aside from that, like I'm not taking these shouts at like Reece James, who's like not been playing games, or like Trent, who we've seen what's been happening with him. But I'm honestly so happy for Ben White. He got ridiculed when he arrived for his price tag and for that first game against Tony and Brentford under the floodlights.
Yep.
And since then, he was one of our top players last year, incredible centre back. And this year's been no one talks about his price tag anymore, right? And I think that
No.
says
No.
it all. That
That's
says
the
it all.
biggest
Opposition
sign of
fans
how
are
he's
piped
doing.
down. Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, I pray to God this never happens. But like, he's a Real Madrid level player. He would not look out of place at the Bernabeu. He is that good. He is a joke. He is such a joy to watch. And even in the first half, I didn't think he was playing that well. But then the whole team just I think the right hand side dynamics without Saka just really, you could feel it, right? But second half it all just kind of clicked, and he's just ridiculous. Like, his ability to make us go from a 3 to a 2. He covers up and down like so much distance. He's in the box offensively. He's back defensively. He's like, his engine, I think, is really underrated. I don't think people quite realize how industrious his role is for us. But it's like the tactical and it's the tactical side of it as well. I think just being able to go from like that 3-2 and that 2-3 that we do, it's so smart what he does. But yeah, I was really happy for him to get a goal. Like, I don't know. I feel like I've been saying for ages I really want Ben White to score, and then he scored in a game where it got overshadowed, and in another one it's just like it's 1 of 4. But it came in a crucial part of the game. Like, it just So
Yeah,
it was a
we
really
needed that goal, right? Because it was at the time it was obviously our second goal after the penalty. It was the one that got us going in the second half after quite a stagnant first half, as we called it. And that's when the kind of floodgates opened. It led to the Jesus goal that we discussed. The
What a
second one.
ball as well, by the way, from Martinelli. Like, I don't know if you've seen like the
Yeah,
TV
from the
angle of
left
it,
wing,
but
right? Yeah.
bloody hell! Like, how's he spotted
The
that?
way he
But
whipped that. Did it hit the post and then bounce to White? That's what it kind of looked like to me. I feel
no,
like
no,
it was
it went straight
went all
through,
the
but
way
like
through.
the
Damn.
gap was just like ridiculous. But then obviously Ben White hit the bar, and I was thinking, how the
On the
hell's he hit
way
the
in, yeah.
bar from there? But it's all right, dramatic finish. But yeah, he's phenomenal. He's absolutely ridiculous, and still maintain he's underrated outside of Arsenal circles. Like, I
I think
die on the
some
hill.
non-Arsenal fans are starting to like see the quality there, but you
Yeah,
are right. I think people don't see him as like the flashy right back, and I love him, man. His interview again, they asked him, "Did
yeah.
Arteta let you guys watch the Liverpool game earlier with City?" And he was like, "I don't watch football."
Yeah.
That was it. That was just it. So I don't know. These reporters are idiots if they're still going to keep trying to ask him. But so Rob Holding, I just want to quickly call out as well, because see, a
Yeah.
lot of people were nervous the last time he started a league game for us before the Saliba injury was away at Spurs, and we saw how that ended last year. We still had memories of that kind of double yellow card and sending off and our capitulation for the top four at the time. I would like to say that he has come in and proven all those haters wrong. People were talking about playing Party at right back.
Oh
They were
no.
talking about, playing White at centre back,
The
all
week
kinds of
before,
shit. Like,
remember, it was like Zinchenko at right back and stuff. It's like, come
yeah,
on, man. Like, I think he deserves so much more respect. Like, and okay, for what it's worth, I can understand fans like skepticism on him. Like,
mm,
he is uh like at a lower level than the rest of the defenders we've got. But I just think there's certain games and certain oppositions where I'm going to say you can get away with it, and that's like a disservice to him. But you know what I mean by that? Like, he won't look out of place because we're going to have the ball a lot more. We're not going to be defending big acres of space like we used to. And you can see it. Like, Palace and Leeds, it was fine. Okay, don't get me wrong. If Liverpool click, I'm a bit nervous about holding away at Anfield. I'm not going to lie. But I do think in home games against Leeds and Palace, some of
mm.
the the predetermined narratives around him were a joke, I thought. Like, and I'm really
I
happy
think
for him.
people
I think
forget what he's done for us, man. Like, this guy started 2 cup finals from what I remember, and he won them both. Wasn't it him and Mertesacker bodied like Chelsea, who was meant to be the
Diego
best team
Costa,
in
yeah.
Europe at the time? They just I remember him just like shithousing Diego Costa, and I will always love him for that alone. So just for him to come back in, I think we said this when we said that Nelson had his moment with that winner, and then he had the brace when he came on when Saka got injured earlier in the season. Trossard's come straight in. He's had his moments, and Nketiah had his moments against United and Spurs. We said that if we want to go the whole way, if we want to win this league, every single player in this squad will need to have their moment. There will be a
Yeah,
moment they will all have to play if we're going to go on to win this. And Jesus keeps saying it again and again that this is a team thing. It's not about individuals. It's not about
yeah,
superstars. They are a team, a close-knit unit. And Holding is one of the leadership group. And I kept saying this when Saliba got injured. And imagine the look on like the squad's face if we just fucking play like some random ass non-traditional back line and won't
yeah.
trust one of the leaders who's been here all this time just because like we don't think he can ball play as well as Saliba and he's not
Yeah, I
as
think
fast
that,
as Saliba. And
yeah,
that's
like,
so yeah, as Mike says, this leads me on to basically thinking that Smith Rowe will have his moment too, and that
yeah.
moment will be pivotal, hopefully, in this title race.
Yeah, you're spot on. It's a squad game, and like if you can't rely on Rob Holding against Palace and Leeds, why is he in the squad? Like, and I just think like I'm glad you said about like the leadership and like the hierarchy in the dressing room because Arteta rates him. Like on Saturday when Xhaka went off, who got the armband? It was Holding. So I just think as fan, like yeah, I don't know, some of our fan base pisses me off, but yeah, I can understand skepticism as like we're going away to Liverpool and yeah, and then I don't know against Saint Newcastle at St James's Park and stuff. But home games against Leeds and Palace, I was never worried about Holding in the team. And I just think like the Spurs game last year, who did he have around him? It was El Neni, it was Cedric. Like we're a completely different unit. Like you can afford for one little bit of drop in quality in certain areas in this team because of how well the unit is as a whole. So yeah, very happy for him, and yeah, thought he was fine.
By the way, I switched to my personal hotspot in the
I could
middle of
tell,
all that.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I was like this. I was like, I can't live with this. If it keeps happening throughout the show, I was like, I need to fix this now. And just on just a few other guys I wanted to speak about. So obviously, we've not talked about the last goal from Xhaka. That was a striker's fucking play. That was a centre forward
I
play,
know.
running into the box like that to score that goal. What's he on now? 7 goals for the season? Is it
7 Premier
7
League goals,
assists?
I think.
Like what is going on? Like I never thought at his age, like he would just like I know end of last season he was playing this more kind of fluid box to box role a bit, but and maybe the output wasn't quite coming yet. But this season, the way he's changed his game, I just can't comprehend like how much output he is actually producing. Like he's
Yeah, so
actually wild.
I just checked. Sorry, it's not 7 Premier League. That must be all competition. So it's 5
Okay.
Premier League goals, 5 assists. But still, double figures goals and assists. That's mental. Like if someone told
From
you
a
that two
guy who
years
probably
ago,
like
but
had that combined for the last 5 years or something.
yeah. But
That is
yeah, that goal
wild,
was
man.
brilliant as well. Because even like the way we rotated the ball on the right quite nicely, and then Odegaard did his thing where he dropped deep, and then what a ball! But yeah, even the finish, that's not easy because like Xhaka crossed it into Jesus in I think in the first half, right? And he had a header which he could have, should have done better. But it's not easy, and especially Xhaka's one where he's running onto it. You can tell he like has a quick scan, sees where the keeper is. Like, yeah, he did that effortlessly. But
I'm
yeah,
trying
he's
to
another
find the
one.
photo of it because I had a photo. Yeah, this is it. So this was similar to the other game. Do you remember when we were talking about the game? Was it against Bournemouth where like Martinelli moved to the right wing and like everyone was all like Zinchenko was playing right attacking
I
mid,
think it
where
was
Xhaka was
Everton
second
when
strike. Oh,
Saka
Everton.
smacked it in the near
It
post.
was when
Yeah,
Zinchenko found Saka on that one
there was
ball.
like
Like he had like
7 of
7
them
passes.
laid out.
So
Yeah,
this game had a similar moment. So I've got a photo that I saw that really caught my eye on Twitter, and White was playing as a right wing. Jesus was playing as the 10. Odegaard was playing as the left mid. Xhaka was playing as a second striker. Trossard, who started at right wing, was playing as the striker, and Zinchenko was playing as CDM. And like
yeah.
that then led to the goal, and that was the Odegaard pass into Xhaka. So I'm like, this positional play is incredible. Like the way we can find a way through teams, and I know when Jesus was out, right? So we would still have these different patterns of play, and the positional play was great. Made the triangles and pods with like White and Odegaard and Saka. But I almost felt like we always knew what was going to happen, but we said that it was incredible because the opposition knows what's going to happen, but then they
You
couldn't
can't do
stop it.
anything about it.
Whereas,
Yeah,
but with Jesus back, I do feel that it adds this element of uncertainty too, because
yeah,
Jesus just plays everywhere. He's almost like another Zinchenko, but in the front line. Like he just
yeah.
goes to any position he wants, brings everyone else in, just And everyone knows whichever position they land in, they know what's required in that position. So they know what to do across all zones of the pitch, even if it's not the position they actually play or start from. And they just slot in and out for each other. And they see one guy moves, everyone moves. And I just wanted to call that out because for me, that was the way we made that goal for Xhaka. It wasn't just Xhaka's own goal that was incredible, but everyone was in a different position from their real position on paper, right? And I just
Yeah.
love to see that. I love to see that.
Yeah, that's what I always say about this team. It's literally just I don't look at positions anymore with this team. It's literally just one big footballing brain, and it's spacing and it's zones. That's all it is, and it's just absolutely ridiculous how well they're coached and the application of it as well. Like they're one of the best coached teams in the world. Honest, it is frightening how good they are, and it's all on autopilot as well. Like I can't comprehend it in my head how many different it's like a domino effect. Like the amount of dependencies there are on where you end up in the pitch based on where other people are. How they like compute that at 100 miles an hour playing at the top level. I really cannot get my head around it.
I think we see it with what we said a few months back about Saka, right? In terms of not Saka, Odegaard, and like the amount of scans he has per second, like just the amount of times they look up and scan, like
I know.
it's just incredible. Like they just seem to know what's going to happen before it's going to happen, and I think that's something that Arteta, as you said, is coached into them. That's why they're
Yeah.
one of the best coached teams in Europe. They all say it, right? They say Arteta tells us what's going to happen before it happens, and it always happens. It's
Yeah.
like I just don't understand. Like I think people again underestimate like how good Arteta is. Now, if we do go on to win this league with Arteta in his first managerial job, as like one of the youngest managers in such a competitive league, personally, I think that will already push him up into one of the elite coaches in the world.
Yeah.
Like there
I
are
think
no other. He already
I think
probably
he
is, but to
already is,
achieve
but
that as well, like we know he's
yeah.
hungry to do it.
I think this is my thing. Like, unfortunately, people won't give him the credit until he's won it, right? Like, that's what I always say. People don't give credit or they can't proactively see things until they've seen an end result. But like what you're seeing with him and what he's done with this football club, it's not like he's a once in a generation type manager. And they're like, I've been so vocal on this, like, regardless of if we win the league this year or not. His career is going to be a joke. Like he'll be remembered as one of the greats, like no doubt in my mind. But most people won't give credit until they see like the
I
Premier
just
League
love to
trophy in
see him
his hands.
start it early. That's the thing. So I'd love him to get that this season, and then that's just the
Yeah,
beginning of a very fruitful
like a
few
big
decades
dynasty.
of
Yeah.
becoming like one of the best managers in like football history. Like I have faith that that is how far he can go as a manager. So incredible. Is there any players you want to touch on before we look at the stats side of things?
Just from the flip side, like we always talk about the defense, but Ramsdale again, he's chipping it. Like it's annoying how many saves he's having to make, to be honest, but
mm,
he's making them. And yeah, like
some
I
big
just think
saves.
defensively, we're annoying at home. Like I couldn't tell you how and why we're conceding, but we are. And yeah, he's a bit too busy for my liking, but he's doing his job and he's keeping us out. He's keeping the ball out of the net, and yeah, it was a shame how they scored because that was just quite lazy defending from us, and then took a little deflection and stuff. But yeah, thought Ramsdale a good couple of saves, and yeah, other than that, I think we've covered most of them. Thought Trossard was good second half. Jesus, great Premier League return. Martinelli, same old. Like I think if anything, like he went up a gear without Saka, to be honest. Like yeah,
I was going
but
to say, I felt like he did a lot of work getting back and defending, but then also getting back up the pitch to push their team back. So he was kind of active on both ends of the pitch. And I actually had to look at some heat maps because it's for my FPL team. And what's interesting is that, like, although Martinelli started as a left winger in this game, Chilwell, who's a left back, left wing back, I guess, but his heat map was higher up the pitch than Martinelli's. So that
was
just
it
shows you
really?
like
Wow.
how much defensive work Martinelli has to do. So I know we conceded, but like if you imagine like we are literally our team at the moment is being championed by two 21-year-old wingers who are playing at world-class levels. Is what I was saying with Mike when he was on the show, like the kind of the
Yeah.
Salamone comparison. Like this Saka Martinelli winger play style at that age, I can only
It's not
imagine
been
how
done
good they're
before.
going to be
I can't remember anyone doing it at this level,
at
like
this
at that
age. Yeah.
age. Yeah, it's
Oh, you're
yeah.
gonna
And I
love this one, by the way.
yeah,
So
go
you
on.
know Bukayo Saka's 22 goal contributions in the Premier League so far this season. It is already better than Giggs' best season as a winger in the Premier League in history of football. He is also now Bukayo Saka is 3 goal contributions away from Bale's best ever Premier League season,
Is it?
Sane's best ever Premier League season, Mane's best
Bales?
ever Premier League season. Yeah.
Wow.
So if
Bloody
in
hell,
the
that's
next 9
surprising.
games, Saka at 21 years old gets 3 goal contributions, he will have beaten legendary Premier League wingers of the past in their best ever tallies in their careers in the Prem, including Giggs, Sane, Mane, Bale. And
To
people
be
tell
fair,
me that he's not world class already.
no, so to
Jesus
be fair,
Christ.
I do think he's getting his plaudits. Like I've seen
Maybe now
people
he is.
outside, yeah, and especially I didn't actually see the game, but I saw on Twitter like apparently he did bits for England and stuff, and
He's
everyone was
England's best
raving
player,
about him.
bro. Like if anyone says
Yeah,
otherwise, they're blind. Like he is England's best player. He's been England's best player for a couple of years now. For when he plays for the national team, he is incredible. Um, oh man, I love him. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. But yeah,
yeah,
let's go
that's
to the
wild.
stats. But that's wild, right? Like Saka at 21 years old. Like these are the not. And do you remember in our Arsenal group chat, like earlier this season, there was Arsenal fans saying that if he wants 200k a year, like we should sell him.
Really, I
People are
don't
fucking
remember that,
delusional,
but
bro.
I hope you tell me who that was after because I
I
don't
I
remember that.
will. They were like, I don't think he's good enough to be warranting that. What will he want at the next contract if that's what he gets? Now I'm like,
Uh,
bro, you got to reward your best player. The guy's been our player of the year for 2 years, pulling
yeah.
us up by the scruff of the neck.
And it's
And
like every phase of the development of this team. It's like when we were 10th and 8th, he was the best player. He was the one carrying us on his back. As we were like last season going for top 4 and like we were a 5th level team, he was
mm,
carrying us on his back. Now we're going for the title. Like he's not carrying us on his back, but he's one of the key
but he's
drivers
scoring
behind
all
what.
the important goals a lot of the time,
Yeah,
right? Like assists or
yeah.
goals.
What
And
was that stat you said a few weeks
so
ago
so
about
at
like
the
his
time when he had
goals
10
in
goals,
game states?
all 10 of his Premier League goals at the time were to either draw us level or to take us ahead. So
Yeah, that's
he was
insane.
the one relied on. Every goal he had wasn't like the fourth goal and a 4-0. It was the 1-1 or the 1-0. He was the one making us go ahead when we needed the goal the most.
Yeah, mad.
At
What a player.
21, that's wild. Cool. Let's
Imagine
have a
seeing him in like 5 years' time. Like, I wonder what level he'll be at. Like, I know career development isn't linear, but like, scary. Like,
Well, I've been
it's
seeing the
terrifying.
latest. Well, I've been seeing some really interesting stuff. So they would. So I think there was some interview I saw recently where they were asking like legendary managers, like even people who like coach the likes of Michael Jordan and other sports. And we know Arteta's in this group chat with like managers and coaches of other sports in US sports franchises, and they'd ask them, "Was there ever a player that you coached that you thought fulfilled their potential?" And they were all like, "No." And that includes the likes of like a Michael Jordan in basketball, like a
I
Messi,
saw that.
because
Yeah.
like, and I was like, and then they kind of went on into this deep narrative about like this is the mentality that like they want to instill in Saka, that like you can always be better, you have never
Yeah.
reached your limit, and that's what they're trying to get out of him, right?
This is what like Arteta for me, like I don't just say this because he's our manager. Like he is the all-round package. His tactical nous is one of the best in the world. His man management is one of the best around. And even like I don't know how to put this into words, but what he's done with the culture is just not normal. And then even the way he talks about just life philosophy and stuff. Like he's got a lot of Arsene Wenger in him in the way he's like quite poetic about life and stuff. And
Hmm.
he's just very psychologically switched on, you can tell. And I just think he's the all-round package. And like for a youngster, like honestly, if you're like a Jude Bellingham, like I know the price tag and stuff, but I don't know why you wouldn't want to be part of this team being coached by this manager. Like the world is your oyster here.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to see what happens this summer and who we can add to continue on from here, because I don't think this is a one-time thing. Like, I think
No,
we're going
we're
to
here
be
to
at the
stay.
top competing for years to come. Yeah. So just a quick
Absolutely.
for the podcast listeners, I'll quickly just read out the stats. So from Mark our stats on Twitter. So the XG, the cumulative XG of the game. So Arsenal was 2.67 to 0.51 for Leeds. The expected threat 2.14 to 0.73 for Leeds. Possession 66% to 34%. Field tilt 67% to 33% in our favor. And then the defensive action height 44 to 39%. So really, like when you look at this, like up until about, I'd say, so we're the blue line on the graphic, so apologies for noise on pod, but like for the first 30 minutes, like we only really had like one decent chance until the penalty. Then there's a big
Yeah.
spike because the penalty obviously counts for a lot of XG. I think it's like 0.7 something on its own. But from there on, we kind of just continued to build. And it's what you were saying earlier, that it did kind of feel like at that point that was it. Like the game was done for Leeds.
Yeah.
Like I know they came back into it. It was a bit scrappy. Like we shouldn't have really let that happen. But hopefully we can start to get some more clean sheets at home. I think we've only had 3 in the league at home this season.
It's kind of wild, right? Considering how freakishly good we are away from home. Like, what was it? We've just not conceded a goal in an away London derby, right? And
Yeah,
like some of those places, yeah. And you look at that, and you see us when we're away from home. You don't really feel like we're going to concede, but when we're, I couldn't tell you. It's a freak thing because some of the goals are fucking bonkers as well.
What do you so I guess my question is, what do you think about this idea that are we conceding goals at home or losing these clean sheets because we play more adventurously at home? Is there something maybe to that? Like we kind of
Maybe.
go for a lot. Like when we play away from home, I almost feel like we seem to want to control games better, whereas at home we're like just trying to score as many as we can.
I can see that, but then the flip side to that is I look at the goals we've conceded and like, okay, the Leeds one maybe as a result of that, but like the other ones that come to mind are like mistakes, like Gabriel against
Against
Fulham, the
Mitrovic,
corner against Aston Villa. Like,
the one where
I
we should
just,
have, had it disallowed because our goalkeeper was impeded. But
yeah, I just think,
when Ben White did it, our goal got disallowed. Yeah.
yeah, literally. But I think it's just the unfortunate mistakes combined with maybe a bit of, yeah, we're more adventurous and go for it a little bit more. But I think that there's not
Mike
much
says
to read
this.
into it.
So
But
Mike says Bournemouth have conceded less than us at home. So that's why I just find it quite interesting because it's a bit wild, right? Like we're talking about like the title leaders 8 points clear, conceding more at home than like someone who's potentially in a relegation scrap in the same season. Like that is
I know.
it shows you how good we've been away from home. I still remember, like, I'm pretty sure there was those dark days when we went like a whole season without an away clean sheet or something. So we've come a long way. Give me what we have now over what
I
we had
know.
then any day of the day. So let's look at the passing network before we go into kind of any questions in the chat. If you do have any questions, guys, do put them in. A quick shout out as well to Delia. Thank you for tuning in. Good to see you as well. So let's quickly just talk a little bit about the positional play and then we'll answer any questions the guys have. And I think we will also figure out what we want to do in terms of getting Mike back on because it was his first time, so he's never done
He
this
said,
before.
yeah, I messaged him, but
Yeah.
look, I wouldn't have known that at all. It was a natural. I love talking Arsenal with Mike, so yeah, it was good to
Mike's a
good to
legend,
listen
man.
to. It was really weird listening to you as like not speaking to you as well.
Oh yeah, because you almost probably felt like you were about to say something back. It's like almost like you're
Yeah,
live on air.
I was like talking to myself while I was away.
That's so funny. All right, so this is again from Mark Statspot as well. The reason I wanted to kind of spend a moment on this is like I thought Somerville was a really tidy player.
He was good, yeah.
He's really good, right? Like I'm really impressed by him as a player this season, not just against us. But I do think Leeds played well. Like I don't think that like there's a reason we struggle so much in the first half. It's partly I know we've had issues coming back from international breaks. A lot of the time our players are a bit tired, and I think every team is seeing that. Like there's been a lot of teams like Chelsea, Liverpool, a lot of these teams whose players went on international duty, they looked a bit fatigued. But even with illness in our camp, I don't know what to say. Like after that one penalty, suddenly we just seem to turn it back on, and that was something I loved the most. But this is very different to what I've seen from our passing networks since, like I'd say, November when Jesus last played, because
it's very
there's almost no
lopsided,
centre
right?
forward, right?
Yeah, but even like I mean, this isn't like a complaint or anything or a criticism, but like usually the triangles are quite prominent, whereas it was very bunched up. Like, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really notice this when I was in the ground. This is just looking at it here. Like when you look at that and the average positions for the passing networks, like it's really bunched up together, and it kind of makes sense when you look at some of the interplay and stuff. But usually it's a little bit more spaced out, and you can usually see clear triangles. So that's quite interesting. And yeah, I'll be honest. Like I said, I didn't really notice that in the ground, so no dramas. But yeah, just interesting to see that.
It's kind of I think the most interesting for me is on the left hand side. You've kind of got the Jesus and Martinelli on top of each other in like a vertical line with
That's
Xhaka
what I
and
mean.
Zinchenko.
Yeah.
But then when you go all the way to the right hand side, it's less of like a vertical triangle. It's more of like a diagonal line. And actually, it's like Odegaard who's the furthest forward receiving the ball to then lay off to the likes of Trossard and White for overlapping runs, I guess. And Partey is really at the heart of it in this match. Like he is the blockbuster, all action midfielder doing everything. And
He's
Holding,
a joke, isn't he?
he is unreal. He's a cheat code, man. And then Holding is obviously pretty much doing the Saliba role, Like
Yeah.
he's just there playing sweeper with Gabriel playing left back and centre back on the other side at the same
His
time.
passing was fine. Like he takes a bit too long on the ball, but I think once you make peace with knowing who it is and you kind of reset your expectations, then your perception of things changes. Like, yeah, I think if you stop looking at Rob Holding thinking you've got William Saliba, then I think you'll be a bit happier. But yeah, he was doing fine. Like, his passing out to the right was nice, and yeah, it was good.
Cool. Should we take this question from Mike then quickly, and then we will get out of here? It's actually an FPL related one after a while, so good to get our FPL hats back on.
Go
So
for it.
Mike asks, "Am I mad considering Jesus for my FPL team gets on a hot streak with goals?" What are your thoughts there? I guess just
I'll
from a
let you take
surface
that
level.
because like I'm a bit out of the loop on like FPL strategy and stuff. But just in isolation, him as a player, and I think he'll score goals. I think he'll get returns. Like, I put him in my draft team, which I know is a
He's
very
cheaper than
different
Saka,
format.
right? He's like
Is
7.8
he?
million at this point or something. So he's quite cheap. I guess what I would say is we don't blank in 32. We play Southampton, and if someone didn't have a free hit chip to use that week, then I could see the logic. Obviously, we have Liverpool away. I think we then have West Ham after it, straight after as well. I don't know if I'd use a free transfer to go there right now because people are probably holding on to the likes of a Watkins, who's been scoring every week. You know, we want Haaland back this week if he's fit. We're probably going to keep Kane till about 33 as well. So I think from my perspective, with no double game weeks to come, I wouldn't necessarily use a free transfer on him till I see him start a bit more regularly.
Oh,
I'm just
really? Okay.
concerned. Like,
So are you
I'm
worried
just
about
concerned.
minutes or?
Yeah, the minutes. Obviously, he got the 60-minute sub again. Like, if I'm going to
Okay,
kind
so
of
I'll throw it
take
out
a
there.
precious forward spot, I
I'm
don't
not
want to
worried
use him
about
for
minutes
minutes.
at all. I'll throw that out there. I
Yeah,
think
but
he is
I think bonus points, right? So if he gets like a
right.
goal and he's subbed in 60 minutes, he's not going to get bonus. But if you've got like
Yeah,
Haaland, Kane, Watkins, Tony, these guys are 90-minute men all on penalties. I
that's a
don't know
fair
if
shout.
Jesus will stay on penalties.
Yeah.
Like once Saka plays,
Oh
surely
yeah,
Saka
no.
just gets the penalty,
Yeah,
right?
Saka's on
So,
pens. Yeah,
so
that's
Jesus
yeah,
just needed that to get going. So I do feel that once you take away those penalties and if the minutes are going to be managed, because let's say there's games where we're winning 3-0, 4-0,
yeah,
he's going to sub him and Party off to protect them for the other 8 games to go.
yeah. That's a fair shout. Yeah. No,
It's just
actually,
like why would you risk these players if we're battering a team? Now, if we're not winning comfortably, then yes, they will stay for 90, I believe. But in games where we are comfortably leading, I just think now I'm on free hit, so I can't wait to go like triple
Are
Arsenal
you
attack in free hit 32, and I will bring
nice?
in Jesus for that. So I'm looking at I definitely want him home to
Who have we got in
Southampton.
32? Is that Southampton? All right,
Southampton home, yeah, bottom of the league. 2
that
managers
is
changed already.
it's Friday night.
Yeah, Friday.
Oh,
Hopefully I'll get to that game, but we'll see closer to the
you
time.
are. Yeah, don't worry,
Yeah,
you're
yeah, it's
there.
looking good. Yeah, oh, it's looking
Yeah.
good, bruv, as Arteta would say. Oh, that would be a juicy game, as Delia says. So I think that's the one where like I could see just a monster haul going. So Delia as well, just to add to that before we go, she was actually considering for a second getting Xhaka. So again,
He's
he's
in my
one in my
draft team as
draft
well.
teams. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I have as many Arsenal players as I can in my draft league. I love it. And just the quote as well from Arteta, right? You can always do better in life, innit? So,
That
so I think
his accent and the smile on that, it just like lives in my head rent free.
I'll always remember that. But is there anything else, I guess, about this match, or are we good to get out of
No,
here?
I think just like how mad is it that a 4-1 win at home is like we're not learning anything new. There's nothing new to take away from it, and like we're not surprised. We're not like it's just becoming routine, right? Like that's blowing my mind. Like the level that this team is kind of performing at, and like the expectations they're just laying down for us in terms of what to expect week in week out. It's a joy to be following this team this season, and yeah, obviously one game at a time. But bloody hell,
I'm
this
just going to check
run-ins,
one thing. So I know we
the
were talking
run-ins,
about.
you know.
So we are on 70 goals for the season, and I just wanted to bring that up because in the preseason episode, obviously we talked about like Arteta saying you need 100-goal seasons and stuff, and
Yeah.
it just kind of felt we were so many years away from that. With I guess 9 games to go, what do we think?
Well,
Where
if you
like
say
if we were both to
two
predict,
goals a game, like roughly,
so we
I'd
reckon
say
just
I'd say
under 90
20 goals
goals.
is possible.
90 goals, yeah,
I
90
think
goals
so.
total. Maybe we can get there. If we get to 90 goals, blind me. If I loved it. What did we get last season? Let me just check shit. I bet you it's going to be something disgraceful compared to that. 61 goals last season. So if we
Wow,
get to 90, that's an immediate 50% increase
that's
in goals.
insane. I think we can do 90 goals. I think we've been scoring 3 goals a game, and like, okay, albeit it was a easier stretch of fixtures, but even against Liverpool and Spurs earlier in the season, we scored 6 against them. Like,
That's true. Yeah, yeah. We got the
yeah,
2 against Spurs at their ground as well. Did we
yeah,
get at least 2 against Chelsea at their ground? So,
uh, yeah. I
or
think
was
what
that
was
the
it one?
1-0
I
where
think
we
that was the
where
one
we
nil to
dominated,
Gabriel.
absolutely
Yeah,
dominated, but then we scored one only. Yeah, and Gabriel was on my bench with a 15 points, a clean sheet, goal, and bonus. I remember that. I
but
remember that well. All right, so 9
yeah.
games to go, as Mike says. Let's fucking go up the Arsenal,
Let's
guys.
fucking go, guys! Up the
Let's
Arsenal!
fucking
Come
go,
on.
guys. We'll see you guys on Friday for the next one where we preview the Liverpool game. Peace.